Guys, welcome back to Royal Cast After Dark, and this will be episode 2 of basically any crime cases, ghost cases, everything within the supernatural. So, we're gonna go with one that's a little bit known because it is like a Netflix show. So, let's get it started. If you have not seen this Netflix show, I wanted to inform you, do not watch this because some of it's part of the show. Well, it is the show. But if you haven't seen the Korean show called The Glory, this is a little bit detail in basically the reality cases that is from The Glory. So a lot of people won't believe it because it's dealing with a lot of bullying. And what I've seen so far from like bullying cases compared to here or Korea is basically Korea has very severe bullying cases that is like beyond me. I did a lot of research on a lot of bullying cases, and when I tell you is so fucking crazy how severe these bullying cases are in Korea is just beyond me. But a little backstory on The Glory, the Netflix show. It is basically a show about a girl who was being bullied in school. And by being bullied, I'm not talking about tasseling of the hair, pushing, and all that. This girl was literally burned by a curling iron all around her body, sexually assaulted, tortured, even her with her parents, just because of these girls were the rich kids and they didn't care and they think they could get away with it type of thing. So she spent a lot of years trying to plot the best way to get revenge on them. But a lot of people have seen these cases that were in the show were actually real cases that happened a long time ago. And the first one we're going to talk about is the curling iron school violence case in 2006. It's very crazy how shows actually bring to light cases that were not even brought to anyone's attention in reality, which is crazy. So, basically in 2006, there was a severe school violence happening at Chunghung. If I say the wrong name, I'm sorry. I'm Hispanic. I missay words all the time. But this is from the girls' middle school. And at the time, a female student, we're just gonna call them one, was bullied by her friend using unfathomable violence, which is curling iron, claiming that. Oh wow. Okay, so the bullies basically extorted money from her, tortured her with a curling iron if she really didn't have any money to give. They would just torture her. Basically, they would use baseball bats, fists, feet to even scratch her chest with a hairpin and burning her arm with the curling iron. So, at the end of the day, the district court issued an arrest for the 15-year-old friend. However, the case was turned sideways. Because according to the media, Korean media, netizens spread photos, real names, phone numbers, and address of the 6 students who were suspected as the perpetrators. At the results, the students and their family received malicious comments and abuse phone calls to their homes, and they reported a complaint of human rights violation. So basically, they would torture the poor girl. She didn't have money to give them. And she would notice basically that they didn't need this type of money. They really didn't need any type of money. But they kept asking her, in the kindness of her heart, she would give it to them. But one day she basically told them, I don't have any more money to give you and all that. So they would torture her. They would get to a point where they would disfigure her chest with hairpins, scratching her, hitting her with a bat, beating her to a pulp until they used the curling iron. And I think she appeared on one of the Korean shows because one of her friends did tell her, hey, this case sounds familiar to your case. And she came into a TV show and she showed basically the scars. They're still deep, they're recovering, but they're still there. And she cannot even go to a hair salon because of this. And I see like a lot of the cases from like bullying or even like stalking and stuff like that. Korea doesn't have a very strict law in perspective because I heard some of them do go to only probation or like 2 or 3 years, which is beyond me because here we get a restraining order or you go to jail or you get security, some type of like formant and protection. But they don't in Korea because I don't know what probation is going to help the victim. Because after that person does the probation, then what happens? What are they going to do? Nothing happens. And the victim is still trying to survive their life. And it gets to a point like if someone dies, that's when basically someone will do something about the situation. Which is why do we have to get to that point to actually help these poor victims? And especially they have actual scars on their body. Literally have scars on their body. And we still, it's just mind-boggling for me. And we go to our second case, which is part of the same case of the first of the Glory, which is where the main suspect, perpetrator, what are you gonna call her, was on a roof. Basically, this is a clip. Basically, she was on a roof with one of the other girls that she bullied, and told her to take off her clothes, but she didn't want to do it. She told her she was scared of her and all that. So she came with a lighter and turned on, like basically set her sweater on fire, and begged the suspect to help her put it out, but she got pushed from the roof, and like everything, she died. So this is basically the second case, which is the gasoline violence in 2020. So the following the central bullying scene of The Glory basically is the drama. Some viewers still do not believe that such horrible incident has stemmed from a true story. They were wrong, because that is until Korean media brought up another horrible life-threatening case of bullying, similar to what happened to that scene that I just said. So on January 6th, E-Day, what a severe violence case in 2020, unlike the curling iron violence, and it happened between adults in their 20s. The incident happened on July 15, 2020. At the time, same-age acquaintance of the victim, Park, 22 years old, called him into the middle of the night, and they said they wanted to celebrate his birthday, and asked him to come to a dark, vacant lot. Upon his arrival, the acquaintance seated Park on a chair and tied him up. They then covered his face with a hoodie and sprayed gasoline all over his body. As if it was not enough, the group also played firecrackers on both his knees and lit them up. Eventually, the firecracker exploded and fell on the gasoline, igniting Park and burning his body. So, this is severe because like in high school, our parents always tell us, be careful who you surround yourself with, be careful who you call your friends with. And to this day, it's still implemented because as adults, we don't know who has good or bad intentions unless we actually see all the minor details. And these were Park's acquaintances from school. Well, I think it was from his job or school, because this was in 2020. And it's kind of crazy how he trusted these friends to hang out with them and actually really went to a vacant spot. I Once I hear something that's vacant, there's no one around and it's just only a group of us, unless it's like a group that I know for years or very much trusted with my life. If I don't trust you, I would never go there. But he trusted these friends, and I know he has severe burns all over his body due to the firecracker and also the fire that caused the burning from the fuel, which is fucking crazy. So it says that all the perpetrators got away with probation. Basically, like I stated, these people they get away with everything in Korea. Like, a little thing, they get away with it. So it says, meanwhile, Park suffered with third-degree burns on 40% of his body and had to undergo treatment for over 100 million Korean wons, which is basically $80,000 in US. This treatment called in more than twice the amount of a settlement. And with his family demanding the perpetrators responsible to pay for the treatment, they said they didn't have any money. At the end of the day, Park and his family filed an additional civil lawsuit against the perpetrator. The slight similarities of the severe violence and burn injuries between the case and the Glory Korean drama, bullying scenes brought the issues to the surface. As a result, Korean media and communities began spotlighting the issues and demanding justice for the victims. Which is true, like I said. The ones that should be taken care of, I don't care how much fucking money you have, because at the end of the day, I always say this. When you die, you don't die with nothing. That money doesn't do anything for you. You're dead. You're part of the fucking earth. You're part of the ground. Money doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean shit. And if you're in the police, I know there's like a lot of corrupt police officers and everything, or police officers, whatever. But these victims need to have their justice. And there has to be someone that would help these victims. Because, one, he's burned. There's physical evidence, because I know there's a video out there. And also, there's 40% of his body in burns. Severe burns. And they just got off literally by probation only. Probation. That's fucking nothing compared to what he is suffering from. Like, come on. So another case that came to my attention was this case of an underage girl who basically, this is another like K-drama, the Glory K-drama type of bullying situation. It says that this I'm just not gonna say her name because I do want to protect these people's, identities, because they are minors and they are going through this traumatic experience. So basically, there are 3 horrible cases including underage and bullying violence. This first case was in Yangsan Girls Middle School case in 2021, where a group of middle schoolers assaulted a student of foreign nationality. The prosecutors then recorded the assault and distributed the video into an internet forum. And that's like the craziest thing, because some of them literally would record the incident and literally act like nothing would come about, and then just distribute it. Like, who fucking records those type of things? Like, literally. And it says that she mentioned that the dormitory cruelty case, and also in 2020, the case of a group of girls forced the victim to drink urine after the perpetrators injected foreign objects into her body. So that's adding assault. And the last case she mentioned was North Juchan's snowbed sexual assault case, and was the most horrifying recent incident where a 12-year-old boy sexually assaulted a 9-year-old girl on a bed made of snow. I kind of heard of this story. Basically, it was a 9-year-old girl who was told by someone I believe she trusted, 12-year-old boy, to go up to her roof, and he sexually assaulted her. And it's just crazy how young these kids are. And it says, finally, what's more heartbreaking from the cases was that the perpetrators only received a minimum to no punishment. That was because they were all young offenders under 14 years old, which made them under the protection of the law. So they were actually protected. And I know I heard that they changed the way they prosecute young adults, toddlers, whatever you want to call them. They changed the age basically, and I think it was 12, and then now it was 14. So that's what happened. The school inspector expressed his deep regret over the fact, due to this protection, most school violence prosecutors get to enjoy freedom under legal protection, because the law considers them juvenile delinquents. Hence, South Korea's law simply sentenced them to community service or juvenile detention instead of giving them a criminal punishment, which is a little bit more torture to these victims. These victims are young. And my thing is, these people who commit these crimes basically rooted back to homes. And I know it's going to offend a lot of people, but kids learn from where they live. That's just one point. Anything that happens to them is starting everything from their home, what they're being taught, what they see. And a lot of parents need to realize, because I know some parents, oh my God, why my kid is like this. Think. What incident that they had in families? What did y'all show in front of the kids? Because kids learn from their own parents, and that's a fact. And some parents don't understand that happens, and then blame them for how they became, why they came like this, because I didn't teach you this. Just because you didn't teach them doesn't mean they don't see what they really see. Like, we see, if we have arguments, if we see our parents have arguments with each other and it gets violence, yeah, some of them, try to escape and not become their parents. There are a lot of like that. But some of them find pleasure in arguments and fighting, and then they become their parents. Like, it's just, y'all need to teach kids not the right thing, because at this point there's no right or wrong except for these type of crimes, bullying, sexual assaults. All of those deserve to be in prison. I'm sorry, it deserves to be in prison. Don't matter how old you are, or at least recovery, camps to turn them around, to teach them, even though some of them never change, to be honest with you. So I also found that from the case in 2006, the one we first said about the curling iron incident, so the victim claimed that she did an interview with the Korea Harlan, and it says that basically the victim claimed that her body was unable to heal because of the bullies would burn her every few days, even peeling her scabs with their nails as punishment. That was how severe bullying cases would get. I did say that she would be scratched and everything. She would be beaten, burned with a curling wand, because she refused to give them money on demand. Basically, that's what she stated in the show. She said, it says Korean publication Humbok also replayed the victim's testimony. It said, I couldn't escape because two people were holding my arm so tight I couldn't. It was painful that I thought I was going to die. That's what she stated. And it says her injuries required approximately like 6 weeks to like, recover, heal to a certain extent. The details are gruesome, but the wake of the glory, they sound remarkably similar to the torture that was inflicted to, well, the main character of the show, which is Moon. Miss Moon. I fucking love Miss Moon. Her acting was brilliant. I fucking love her. But yeah, that was one of the thing. It did say, but counter to what we've seen in the dramas, those allegedly involved in the real life cases didn't escape consequences. One girl was arrested while a number of teachers who failed to act had administrative measures taken against them. Still, there are limits to what measures can be taken, with most of the perpetrator under the age or around the same age of 14. Which is basically what I stated. Yeah, which is basically what I stated. They don't get to go to jail. Everything is either a minimum of a probation or delinquent detention. That's all they get. But at least one of them was, And the thing is, like, she did, I believe, like, in the show, she did inform the teachers. She did tell them. But, like, on the show, when she did inform them and she went to the police and everything, they were literally belittling her. Like, did it really happen to you? Are you sure? And it's like, when adults do that and a person is going to trauma, doesn't matter the age. It's like you're saying, yeah, fuck out of here. You're just playing with me. That's a whole fucking prank. Nothing happened to you. Like, that makes it more torture because the victim is not going to have this hope that they're going to be saved. And like I said, only way anything would ever happen or get an answer is if the person, the victim, dies. And that's when we start asking questions. If we have it's right there. You see, like, I think they did, take pictures of her wounds and stuff. And if it's on her, I could tell. Because if she was bleeding and scabbing and everything, it has, like, pus. And if someone goes and says, yeah, I was a victim of bullying, they did this, that, and third, and I see it myself on her own fucking body, why do I need to ask any other questions? Why? For someone to actually put a curling iron, and let me revise to you, a curling iron can go up to 150 degrees. 450 degrees, I was wrong. 450 degrees. That's hot. That's literally burning, sizzling hot. And to be healing, the wounds heal, and then press it back on there, or peeling, it hurts. It scabs. And it's a tortured method. And my thing is, where are these parents? Like, where are these parents? How did these kids become like that? To have scorching, hot ass temperature curling iron on someone's fucking arm. Literally. guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Glory case drama. There's a lot more cases with severe bullying from Korea, which I will be touching base in a couple of them. But for right now, these are the ones that are related to the K-drama show. The K-drama show was a very, very good. I would watch it all over again. And, there's a lot of bullying cases around the world, but I never seen some that severe here in the United States than in Korea. And, we have to back up our own people, the victims. We have to stick up to them. I get it, sometimes it's scary, but it is important to protect each other, especially if we are friends. And I hate that when two people, like one person is bullying and the whole school turns their back on them. Are y'all really truly friends? If you really consider yourself friends, you would help that friend. No matter fucking what. And I know like it's a young age and some people do get scared because you're young, you don't understand what's going on, you don't know what to do. My advice to you, because someone always told me, like, if you become a unit, they can't do nothing. Why? Because what are they going to do for a couple of your friends? They can't do nothing. Y'all a whole group. They can't burn someone. They can't do everything that they did to your friend to all of you. I know it's a little scary to stand up by yourself, but it's good to stand up and speak. If some adults don't, listen to you in a certain way, belittle you, always trying to find someone who does. And I know it's discouraging because you kind of lose hope when someone belittles you or tells you no or doesn't believe you. I know it's painful to see that when you're just trying to find help. But keep trying, because there will be one adult out of the bad ones that would help you. It would be one out of all the people you have told. And if you want to, nowadays we have internet. Put it in a forum, put it on Reddit, put it on YouTube. Do something to have it be spoken out. Because I notice as more people get involved in these type of cases, basically it will be more known. It will be less, it will be more like the first attention, the first to crack it down. Because a lot of people involved in a case, a lot of angry people involved in a case that is horrendous, it can help you out. There's a lot of different ways, but as other human beings, as adults to these kids, we do need to look out for the victims. But yeah, I see you guys in the next episode. I did like that you guys also send cases that you guys want me to talk about. I will for sure look into them, research them. I already have a couple that I researched, so there will be episodes of crime cases coming every Friday at 11. And yeah, I guess see you next episode, guys. Deuces.